Greetings, Alan Cook here. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about reading music. I'm going to talk you through that. Just think about reading books, for example. There's the slow version where people read for entertainment, comprehension, might reread a couple of sentences or even a paragraph or even an entire page and then lay back and absorb its meaning. Then there's the speed reading variety where the hand moves the eyes along at a rapid pace. Those people that read 2 or 3 books a day, for example. It might be an exaggeration, maybe not. There might be some people out there that do that. Maybe you're one of those. And I propose the same thing about reading music. There's the slow version, where we take our finger and put it on the paper, the sheet music, and pick the notes out of our instrument, or do it very slowly and methodically just to confirm pitch and or rhythm. And then, of course, there's the sight reading variety, where it's played in rhythm at tempo, and especially with other musicians. And if you're doing it with other musicians, of course your skills have to be on par to do that. So we're just going to talk about reading music today. I'm going to talk you through that. So reading music is usually on these 5 lines and 4 spaces of the staff you see behind me. Typically the right hand is going to play the notes that are on the top staff, the treble clef, like on the piano. Bass-oriented notes like bass guitar, etc. are going to be played on what's called the bass clef or the F clef. There's 2 little dots down here. You might see that. I'm going to make them a little larger. And there's a reason for that. That's the F line, but we'll get to that in just a minute. So just as there are patterns on the keyboard of constructing chords by using every other note, the staff moves the same way. Really, really simple, folks. Really, really simple. So we're going to write that in. Now there's a middle section here. There's also notes that are in the middle. You've heard of middle C. Well, that's written kind of like this, for example, in a line all of its own. Alright? Okay? That's what C is. Middle C. I'm writing it to the side just so we can go up and you'll see how everything falls in place here. And I'll be using different colors. So the notes on the line will be in red. Those in the spaces will be in green, so you can begin to see those patterns. So in music, obviously, it's alphabetical order, and so is the staff. Pretty simple. You can do this. So after C is a space. That's D. This is also middle D. I would call it that because it's in between the treble clef and the bass clef here. Right? C is followed by D. And then on a line, just as a chord is built, we have E. That's next. If you know a C major chord, you know those are the first 2 notes. We build chords by constructing them with every other note or every other alphabet in this regard. Okay? Then D's in a space. Then we have the next space is F. Pretty simple. D and F. Next on the line, you begin to see the pattern now. Here's the full chord. C, C, E, G. In a space, next is A. Okay, we have D, F, D, F, A. Next, C, E, G. Skip an alphabet. What's next? You guess. B. You got it. You see how easy this is? Very, very simple. Okay, then we have D, F, A, skip an alphabet, and we have C. So we have the C, E, G, B, D, F, A, C. There's our 7th chord, 2 7th chords in the key of C there. Now notice this, when a note is on a line, an octave above it is going to be in a space. So that would mean D is going to be where? In or on a line. Okay? Perfect. Then we have another space here. We've got the same pattern here. We began with red C, E, G. Now we have the green C, E, G. There we go. C, E. There's our C up there. Then our top line is going to be, of course, we have D, F here, and now we have a D, F on in the spaces, and we have D, F up top here on lines. And that's the pattern of the 5 lines and 4 spaces, and you've probably seen it before. This spells the word face, and that acronym you may have heard if you just got as far as the treble clef. Every good boy does fine. or every good boy deserves fudge, or whatever you've heard before, but it's just best to memorize the lines and spaces by their alphabet so you're not thinking about acronyms. Every, or words, that is, E-V-E-R-G-O-O-D, which are not part of the music alphabet. Alright? Cool. Now we're going to go backwards and come down this way so you can see how everything goes in alphabetical order. Well, we could go up that way. What do you think? Well, I'm going to do this. So in between the treble clef and the bass clef, or the spaces, we have, going backwards now from C, is B. So we have middle D and B, as well as middle C. Got that? Okay. Now we're going to go backwards. So what comes before B is A. That's going to be our top line. Right there. Alright. Continuing on. Our space is going to be, what comes before A is G. Right on. Okay. And then on the line is F. There we go. Before F comes E. And notice here also, even as the notes go down from the treble clef to the bass clef, E is on a space. The octave above E is going to be on a line. You got this. Before D, E is D. I said it prematurely there. There's a D. And then we have in the space that comes before D is C, one octave down from middle C. Continuing on, then we have on a line B. There we go. Continuing downward, we're going to have A here on the first space. And then finally on the first line is G. So alphabetical order from the bottom: G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, middle C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, F. Like that, like that. So C is written on a, what's called a ledger line. That's L, E, D, G, E, R. And when notes go above or below the staff, we'll write a ledger line. For example, with the F up here, we'll put in G right here in that space. G is on a space, in a space. And if we wanted to continue on, A would then be on that line, and that would continue the pattern. You see F, A, C, etc., that kind of thing. Spelling the word face. And it does also here, F-A-C-E. And you can see all cows eat grass, that acronym that you might know in the spaces. And then good boys do fine always, good boys do fine always, because every good boy deserves fudge. But that's the lines and the spaces. Pretty simple. Now you could just take some notes and write them in. Get yourself some manuscript paper. I recommend that. Just practice doing this and writing the notes. You know how they look, little oval looking things. Let's do it in black here, for example. We can write, that's an F. That's on the F space, obviously. There's the A. And then in the C space, now typically what you want to understand also is when the notes come up on the third line and above, usually the stem will go down. And on the left side for those notes that are going above that. And then E, of course, big E. There's F-A-C-E. It's F4, A4, C5, and E5 being in the C and E being in the fifth octave. Middle C is considered C4 because it's in the fourth octave. This is C3. And this one is C5 up here. Just so you know how the octaves go. Alright? So that's how you read music. You can just read. You don't have to sight read it or do it by rhythm. You can just take your time and pick out the notes. And when sheet music is put in front of you, you'll be very confident in to decipher what is being put in front of you. Now, of course, a lot of times in the churches and the bands, we just use a chord chart. Somebody will hand us that either on a piece of manuscript paper like I was showing you. Somebody's written out a chart or something, or it could be on a bar napkin, you know, with coffee stains on it. You never know how you're going to get it. But if you get something like this with the lines and spaces, then you know how to decipher it. You can put it together, every other alphabet, every other space, every other line, that kind of thing, put it together. Obviously learning the rhythms and the notation, meaning whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, 32nd, and that kind of thing. That takes a little, that's for another video. We'll get into that another time. If you'd like to see that and see me do that, yeah, put it in the comments and let me know. I'd be glad to help you. And if you want lessons, music lessons, I teach those. You can find me at my website, alancookmusic.com. Just go to the contact page, send me some information, your information. Let me know what you'd like to learn, be it guitar, piano, or the bass guitar. I also do some vocal coaching. We can do it online, however way you want it. If you live in my area, that'd be even better. We can get together one-on-one. So until next time, have a melodic day. And be sure to watch this again and again and see how simple it is, but do practice. Just writing out some notes just for the fun of it, even if you don't plan to be a great sight reader. It's just a good thing to know, to be able to write even your own songs out if you're a songwriter, and then you'd have them on a hard copy. Now there's software obviously that can do these types of things, but let's hold on to the lost art of pen to paper. It does so much for the mind. Keep us thinking, especially in these days of technology and AI and all those kind of things. Let's keep it human, keep it real, have a melodic day. We'll see you next time.